Alright, what is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Unconventional Connections, where we make unconventional connections. I'm your host for this week, Big Mike, and always joined by my co-hosts, Isidro and Beto.
Hello.
What it do, baby boo?
Hello.
And today we got another horror topic.
Let's go.
It's like already expected every single time I'm the host.
every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
A horror topic.
But this week I decided to pick the topic of creepypastas. And for those of you who don't know, creepypastas, basically to sum it up, it's like basically just online horror stories. Anybody can make a creepypasta. Anybody could make any type of creepypasta. There's no real like criteria to it. It just depends on whether or not people think it's good or not.
There's a criteria. It has to be horror.
That is true. It does have to be horror. It does have to be. Yeah, that is true.
That's the one criteria. Has to be horror driven or mystery.
So do you guys have you? I know, Cedar, you did a little bit of research before. But before you did the research on like a little bit of like creepypastas, did you have any like experience with creepypastas at all?
Yeah, I guess like some Pokemon one, like the red silver, whatever it's called, and then there was one that I heard a while back. It was like a white Charizard story, but I think it was a Spanish one. So and I've never found it ever again after that. So it really is a creepypasta. So I tried looking for it again like a couple years back. But I just never couldn't find it. I looked everywhere that in every language that I could, Japanese, English, French, Spanish, nothing. I couldn't find anything. I was like, but I had to be in English or Spanish because back when I heard it, I only knew Spanish and English. So, so it really is lost media to me. I remember I watched it on YouTube. It was like a random YouTube video. It was like they had this white Charizard shooting fire at a mountain, something like that. It was like fighting something. I don't remember.
What the heck?
But and the story was just like this guy was trying to catch a rare white Charizard, which is not a color Charizard's obtainable in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then obviously like the Jeff the Killer, I've heard that one before. You know, everybody knows the face. Slenderman, the creepypasta that got made into a really, really amazing horror movie. And yeah, I mean, I just kind of knew about them. I never really listened to them because since I don't like horror, they would put me to sleep usually, and I don't read either. So I would put on a video and I would just fall asleep to them if I ever did. So yeah.
Okay. And then Bethel, you said you don't have like really experience with creepypastas.
No, man. Something our viewers should probably know is that I'm a big fucking weenie. So I don't do very well with horror stuff because I have way too much of a good imagination. So when I'm reading something and it's described in a certain way and I'm able to imagine it, my imagination takes it to the 10th and I start getting paranoid and stuff like that. So I personally can't. I don't like delving into that kind of stuff. However, now that I'm an adult and I'm able to say, oh, okay, is this a made up story? It's not real or whatever, and I'm able to control my paranoia and all that stuff. I do like listening to stories of like just like murders and stuff like that. And well, not necessarily like that because I think it's a little bit
like
tacky.
that true crime stuff, right?
Yeah, like the true crime stuff to me, like people that are like, oh, I love watching murderers and blah blah blah. I feel like it's like tacky, weird. It's like it's weird. It's like okay, you got nothing better in your life, so you want to see something so extreme. But okay, whatever. I'm not talking shit because sisters like that, but that's not the point. Like my older sister, she's into it, and I'm like, why? Like you're just enjoying the tragedy of someone else. Like poor people were murdered, and like you're okay with this? Like why do you enjoy it? And then I asked her like, Dee, for example, I'm rewatching Dexter, right? And for those of you who know, I'm sorry, spoiler, but the synopsis is Dexter, he's essentially a serial killer. But he's a good serial killer, apparently. Yeah. So it has a whole story to it. There's a lot of psychology to it. It has some like connotations of like sociopaths and stuff like that. So it makes sense. But the thing is, it's a drama. So it makes sense. It's not even a mystery, like a crime mystery or nothing. No. Like they explain to you, like, oh, this guy did this and this, and this is why Dexter's killing him, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's different because it has a
Yeah.
story to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does it have some horror elements? Yeah, kinda. Because it's like scary. Because like Dexter kind of looks a little bit scary when he's in his mode of, oh, I'm gonna kill this person and blah blah blah
Or
blah.
it's
You
like
know what I mean?
he's like, or there's like a scene that he's like about to get someone, so there's like the jump scare of him like putting the
Yeah,
chloroform on his
exactly.
out of nowhere, stuff like that. Or someone jumped him, it's kind of like that because they are cops, so
Yeah,
he works for the police, so it's stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, they're like breaking into someone's house, something like that.
yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is growing up, and I think I made a point in on our many of other videos of horror that I've been spooked a lot when I was younger, so I'm not really a big fan. Now, the creepypastas, I remember some of them, but I thought
Hmm.
that at first they were like true crimes, like these things did happen, but no, they're just made up stories. They're
Yeah.
just stories that people made up, like kind of like a fan fiction of some sort of whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which
Hmm.
although some of them are pretty popular, I know about them because they're popular, like Slenderman or
Hmm.
Jack the Ripper or Jack the Killer or whatever the fuck. And then the
Yeah.
one that has a siren for a head, like a
Oh yeah,
speaker
Siren
thingy.
Head is one of the
Siren
more
head.
recent ones. Yeah.
Yeah, like those are like I just know that they're scary stories that are made up, and usually they have to do with
Hmm.
some sort of mythological creature. Because I think Mothman was another one, I think, or
Yeah,
some stuff like
Mothman.
that.
It's like I know there's creepypastas made about Mothman, because like there's some that are like creepypastas can be just about anything, and I think that like Mothman is more like a cryptid kind of thing, where it's
That's the
like
word,
a
cryptid.
like a
Yeah.
legend or like a kind of thing where people can make creepypastas of it, but Mothman like himself is not like a creepypasta because it didn't
Okay.
originate from creepypastas. But I think there has been creepypastas made about Mothman.
Oh, okay.
Or is the SAP Foundation cryptids too, or no?
Yeah, that one I
Um,
think.
SCP I think technically has like some cryptids under like their SCP files if I remember correctly.
Mm.
But I don't think that they have like anything that like claims that like the cryptids came from like the SCP Foundation or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they do have like cryptids in like the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
asking Mike about the difference between the SAP Foundation and creepypastas. He said they're the same, but they're different. Because creepypastas are the stories, the SAP Foundations are documentations on the stories, basically. To narrow it down,
Yeah.
simplifying it a lot,
Yeah.
very quick, 5 second
Yeah.
explanation.
Because like
Um,
how I was explaining it to Isidro was that like SCP is basically like the Foundation itself. It's basically like just think Men in Black, but just not just extraterrestrial stuff. So it's anything supernatural. It doesn't have to be anything because there's different levels too of like threat levels, and there's some that are like there's absolutely no threat to humanity and everything like that.
Mhm.
It's just out of the ordinary, you know. It's just something that just needs to be contained, just so and then it doesn't cause any panic in the public or anything like that. Like I was telling him that there's one SCP technically, there's a file of a coffee machine that basically dispenses anything you ask it to dispense. So if you tell it you want gold, it'll dispense you a cup of liquid gold.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and like it's not like anything that like to use like against humanity or anything like that. It just dispenses what you tell it. That's it. You
yeah.
know.
So yeah, so today we're gonna be talking
Okay.
about creepypastas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah.
when I was in high school and a little bit throughout college as well, I would always like listen to and read creepypastas just because like there were so many different stories that you could come across with it. And like a lot of the times a lot of creepypastas they're very short so they're very easy to digest.
Yeah.
But also that being said, there are a lot of not well written creepypasta.
Today, one of my friends, I asked for recommendations for good creepypastas or whatever. She sent me
Mhm.
one that was 5 hours long. I was like, well, I'm not listening to that one. I'm not listening to
That's the
that
thing
one. I
too.
do not
Like
have the time for that.
there are some that are long, and there's some that are long and well written, and a lot of those like are like well-known ones or
Mhm.
like well-regarded ones. And I think mostly because like the ones that are known as it's either your creepypasta gets popular because of like the character that it's about or stuff like that, or it's like a well-written story.
Mhm.
Because other than that, most of the time, like some creepypastas, they're like not well written because most of the time, much like myself around the age where I was consuming creepypastas, they're made by a lot of people that aren't experienced writers,
Yeah.
and sometimes even like just teenagers and stuff like that. Like I think one of the more famous ones that, like in rereading it, you kind of question why it got famous is Jeff the Killer.
Mhm.
Um, just because now, like I remember when I first read Jeff the Killer, I was like, oh yeah, he becomes a killer, he goes crazy or whatever. Now I'm reading, I was like, what the is this guy fucking John Wick? What is going on here? What? Huh? What?
Yeah, he's
Because
superhuman, good at everything.
it's just like, all right, wait, what? You okay? But yeah, it's that's one thing that I do love about creepypastas is just the variety that you get with it.
Yeah, they're
Um,
very accessible for everyone.
yeah,
It
there
just
is.
depends on the
I need
skill
to
of the
watch
writer.
it. Yeah, I need to watch it. There's a show that came on. I think it had like 3 seasons or so, but it's called Channel Zero. And Channel Zero is a TV show that is made about creepypastas. Um,
Is the Twilight Zone a creepypasta?
no, the Twilight Zone, no, Twilight Zone's
It's its own show.
let me see.
Is the
Okay,
Tower of
stop.
Terror a creepypasta?
You could probably make a creepypasta about the Tower of Terror,
Who was the
but
Twilight Zone thing? Right?
well, I guess yeah,
It's
that's
a
true.
Twilight
Yeah,
Zone's like this is we're not. It literally starts. We're going to a place where like time and sound or
that's
whatever,
true.
time and space are not the same. You are entering the timeline, the Twilight Zone. And then they go
Wait,
into
hold
explain on
on.
how a girl and because of her Mickey Mouse doll, how it cursed the tower,
Mm.
and therefore they have been he summoned lightning to the tower as part of their punishment. So therefore they have been cursed,
Mm.
and that's why they are stuck in there in that elevator, and that's why the faulty elevator. Yep, it was
Ah,
Mickey Mouse. It was all Mickey
it
Mouse.
was all Mickey Mouse. It was the mouse.
It
It was
was
the
the
damn
mouse
mouse.
all along, and his darn Satan rituals from the 50s.
Let me see. Oh wow, yeah. I'm seeing because like apparently there's 4 seasons of Channel Zero.
Oh, wow.
Um, because each season is like a different creepypasta. Um,
Oh, they're like
but
season
yeah.
long creepypastas? Wow, that's cool.
I'm pretty sure they're probably doing their own thing with it because like some of the like one of the ones the first season is Candle Cove,
Mm,
um, which is another creepypasta that I wanted to talk about because Candle Cove it's like
very
yeah it's like an
short.
8 minute read, yeah
Yeah.
it's so short, and so to to make a whole season on it, like they have to do something with it. They
Yeah.
probably are doing their own thing with it
They
and
probably
whatnot,
made
just going
some
off of the
episodes and have kids watch it.
yeah.
Creepy things
Okay.
to build the lore.
So I
Hmm.
have let me see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
I
8.
didn't.
No, we don't have to go through all 8 of them, but there's 8 creepypastas that I have put aside. Um,
I did not
if you
like the
guys
ending
wanna,
of Candle Cove.
oh the the twist of it.
The no, no, the twist was fine. The mom in a nursing home. I was like, so who's crazy? Is the mom or the kid?
Yeah,
That's the part that's kind of like, well, that kind of
maybe.
throws away the whole disbelief for me, which is ironic considering I work a lot with nursing homes. So, so I know what a nursing home is, and the not people in nursing homes aren't exactly
Mhm.
crazy. That's a specific type of nursing home
Yeah.
that I have to be. But yeah, that's kind of where like kind of like that's where they kind of like, so who's lying here?
That is true. Yeah. Um. Did you want to go over? Because I'm pretty sure we put those.
Yeah, we can go
That
over
was all
Candle Cove.
I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you guys. I just came back from and I've been in the car for the past like 8 to 9 hours. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. But I'll tell you this right now. I'm ready for whatever you guys are doing. I'm all for it. You see, this is probably gonna be the easiest video you're gonna edit because I'm not gonna be talking a lot.
What do you
So you don't
mean?
have to watch out for me.
You already said like 10 cousins in the first 10 minutes.
Word. But anyways,
I have
so
a
no, yeah.
timestamp. Just
I
tagging them
think
up.
I think what will make this episode better is if like our backgrounds were all dark. You know?
But
Do you
so
want?
far
I could do
away.
that.
It's so far away.
Hold on. Oh, give me a second.
Or
Where is it? Where is it? Hold on. I'm gonna get flashbanged right now.
I don't think this is.
Oh, never mind. That was
I
bad.
don't think this is working.
There we go.
Tia, where's your lamp? We all gotta have a lamp.
There we go.
Flashing
There we go.
our faces. Yeah, I don't think the dark background's helping much.
It's not scary enough. It's not spooky enough for you, Cedro.
Oh, it's scary how bad it looks.
it's not that bad.
It's
not that bad.
Right.
I mean, it's alright. Overrated, my opinion. You guys, I'm gonna be okay. Before we continue, I want to bring something to you guys' attention. I've been playing a lot of Stardew Valley, and I am afraid that my brain has been rotted. Cause holy crap, dude! All I want to do is play Stardew Valley. There's this game called Core Keeper. No idea what it's about. And it's basically Stardew Valley, but with like other elements, and like it's like underneath the ground or something like that. I don't know. All I know is that I'm interested in it. It's $14, but I don't want to spend money. So I'm like, I don't know. No, I love it when games.
Beto. I watched the Minecraft movie.
Oh yeah, how was it?
It was good actually. As someone who doesn't like Minecraft, it was very good. It is for kids, definitely, but it is a really good love letter to the series.
Yeah, I heard a lot of like not good things about it, but I heard a lot of things about how it's very about. It does a lot of homages to Minecraft, like it points it out, like, oh hey, this is what happens to Minecraft.
Very faithful to the Minecraft mechanics.
That's good.
Very, very faithful to Minecraft mechanics. So I don't think that's a spoiler that Minecraft mechanics are in the Minecraft movie. If it is, I'm sorry.
Dude, what?
They built stuff. Can you believe it?
What?
They built stuff.
Spoiler alert, dude.
I know, crazy spoiler. The guy's name is Steve. Do you guys know the main character's name?
Dude, I can't stand you. Mike, can you start, please?
I
Okay,
give it a 7 out of 10. Pretty solid movie. Definitely should go watch it if you like Minecraft.
I know. I'm probably gonna watch it tomorrow because that's when the discount days are. Yeah. So I might go and see it.
Right. Well,
okay.
Candle Cove.
Do you want to do Candle Cove? Okay.
Yeah. Since we already started talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see if this is. Okay. So do you guys want to do like where like I'll read it and you give like your thoughts and all that?
Yeah, I mean it's a short read, so we definitely can, especially because Beto doesn't even know about it. Or yeah, let's see. We can try it out. If not, we can just do summaries of them afterwards. If we don't, we're not really feeling the reading it.
If it's not flowing or none, yeah. Okay, so Candle Cove, the way that it's formatted, the story's formatted, is it's kind of like a
group chat or discussion board.
Group chat or like it's like a discussion board kind of thing. That's the way that the story's formatted. So this one is okay. Also, let me see. Yes. Okay. So Net Nostalgia Forum Television Local. Sky Shale 033 puts Candle Cove Local Kid Show. Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove, and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 1972. I lived in Ironton at the time, and I don't remember what station, but I do remember it was on a weird time, like around 4 p.m. And to which Mike Painter65 replies, it seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove, was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl. And so Sky replies back, yes, okay, I'm not crazy. I remember Pirate Percy. I was always kind of scared of him. He looked like he was built from parts of other dolls. Real low budget. His head was an old porcelain baby doll. Looked like an antique that didn't belong on the body. I don't remember what station it was. I don't think it was WTSF, though. And Jaren responds,
real quick,
sorry to...
you know how it's like, they're like, oh, I don't remember if this was real or not. That's how I feel with the White Charizard story. That's how I feel. I don't know if it was real or not, if we just dreamt it up. Because I never found it.
There's gonna be someone posting about it, and Isidro's gonna be putting in the replies like, yes, I'm not crazy.
That's how I feel about it. It's this White Charizard story that the guy went up the mountain to find. It was supposed to, it's like some knockoff of like the Mount Coronet or whatever the one in the Sinnoh games. No, not the Sinnoh. The Johto games are. Whatever it's called, Mount Silver or whatever it's called. I don't remember. I don't even know the name of the game. But it was like supposedly there, and he like went and like found it. It's this White Charizard. It's this mystical, magical dragon beast. Like, but yeah, that's how I feel that it's lost to time to me.
Right now that you're saying this out loud, I remember there was a story where it was in the Game Boy, like the Game Boy Color, where someone found or fought against Red, or is Red, or some shit like that. They fought a rival, and at the end of the game, like towards the end of the game when you complete the game or something like that, you fight him again, but he has a black Charizard.
That's just
like an actual
shiny, just a regular shiny.
Like an actual shiny. No, that's an actual shiny Charizard, but I don't remember if it actually happened or not.
I think I remember hearing something about, like reading about something like that, because that sounds familiar.
There's
it probably is.
There's also the Lost Soul Silver, whatever, that like all the trainers have like red, like blood in their eyes. That's the pretty popular Pokemon creepypasta.
I know the
or Dead Silver. Something
the most popular Pokemon one that I know of is the Lavender Town Syndrome.
Oh yeah, because the music drives you crazy or something like that.
Kids,
yeah. Like the original release of Pokemon, like the sound, like the way that the keys are played or something like that for when you enter Lavender Town, it like messes with your head or like drove people to unalive themselves
basically.
Yeah, the original Japanese version, which is why they remade Red and Blue or whatever.
Yeah.
They made Blue, and it's only in Japan. This mythical copies, whatever. Yeah. That's still not more scary than the actual episode where they gave kids seizures.
Oh no, yeah, that was very real. As a matter of fact, Gundam was another issue because it had a lot of flashing lights because like the laser beams and all that stuff.
So
it had a lot.
I don't know if you noticed in anime, they're like everything dims when there's a lot of big lights. It's because of that.
Oh, interesting.
Because they keep giving people seizures.
Yeah.
So now, So now, if you see an anime, everything like really dims when there's like a big laser or light fight, because of that.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, that's a good workaround for it, though.
Yeah.
So that way you don't have to like sacrifice like a lot of the visuals and stuff like that.
So yeah. So Candle Cove. What did Jerry75 say?
Oh yeah. So I'm guessing this is like a while later. They reply, "Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was on channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news, and let me see what I remember." And they also write, "It took place in Candle Cove, and it was about a little girl who imagined herself to be friends with pirates. The pirate ship was called the Laughingstock, and Pirate Percy wasn't a very good pirate because he got scared too easily. And there was Calliope music, probably like pirate music, constantly playing. Don't remember the girl's name, Janice or Jade or something. I think it was Janice." And then that's when Sky comes back to the conversation and replies with, "Thank you, Jaren. Memories flooded back when you mentioned the laughingstock in Channel 58. I remember the bow of the ship was a wooden smiling face with the lower jaw submerged. It looked like it was swallowing the sea, and it had an awful Ed Wynn voice and laugh. I especially remember how jarring it was when they switched from the wooden plastic model to the foam puppet version of the head that talked." And then Mike comes back into the conversation and says, "I remember now too. Do you remember this part?" And then that he quotes the show when, I guess is a line from the show, saying, "You have to go inside." And to which Sky replies, I got chills reading that. "Yes, I remember. That's what the ship always told Percy when there was a spooky place that they had to go in, like a cave or a dark room where the treasure was, and the camera would push in on Laughingstock's face with each pause. You have to go inside." With his two eyes askew, with that flopping foam jaw, and the fishing line that opened and closed it. It just looked so cheap and awful. You guys remember the villain? He had a face that was just a handlebar mustache above really tall, narrow teeth. And is this part of the actual story? There's another person comes into the chat, but their username is Kevin Hart.
Oh no.
It makes it realistic. People tend to be other celebrities.
That's true. So anyways, Kevin Hart. I honestly thought the villain was Pirate Percy. I was about 5 when this show was on, Nightmare Fuel. And Jaren responds back with, "That wasn't the villain. The puppet with the mustache. That was the villain's sidekick, Horace Horrible. He had a monocle too, but it was on top of the mustache. I used to think that it meant he had only one eye. But yeah, the villain was another marionette, the Skin Taker. I can't believe what they let us watch back then." To which Karen Hart replies,
Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Can you send me that link so I can read it too, but while you're reading it?
Yeah.
So that way I can lock in and not be such a weird.
Gotcha.
The Skin Taker, he's the cousin of the Undertaker. They're very close.
It's the Undertaker's cousin.
Yeah, they're very close. They're like this. They're very tight.
Yeah, he was explaining to the WWE that he was gonna be a luchador, but then he came in looking like Leatherface, and they had sound like, nah, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, they said that's already taken.
Yeah, that's already done, man. We gotta have new, fresh ideas.
Yeah. We need more Rey Mysterios.
Beto, if you want, I'm right here on where it says Kevin Hart, Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah, I'm rereading it real quick because I lost you like 3 times.
Oh god. Gotcha. Let me know when you're good.
No, continue. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so which Kevin Hart responds, "Jesus H. Christ, the Skin Taker. What kind of kids show were we watching? I seriously could not look at the screen when the Skin Taker showed up. He just descended out of nowhere and on his strings, just a dirty skeleton wearing that brown top hat and cape, and his glass eyes that were too big for his skull. Christ almighty." To which Sky replies, "Wasn't his top hat and cloak all sewn up crazily? Was that supposed to be children's skin?" And to which Mike responds, "Yeah, I think so. Remember his mouth didn't open and close. His jaw just slid back and forth. I remember the little girl said, "Why does your mouth move like that?" And the skin taker didn't look at the girl, but at the camera and said, "To grind your skin."
That really
That's
grinds
gross.
my
Sky-
gears.
It really grinds my gears.
You know what really grinds my gears? Grinding skin.
I'm gonna grind your guys' skin because my jaw doesn't move the way it's supposed to. Oh man. And then Sky responds with, "I'm so relieved that other people remember this terrible show. I used to have this awful memory, a bad dream I had where the opening jingle ended and the show faded in from black and all the characters were there, but the camera was just cutting to each of their faces and they were just screaming. And the puppets and marionettes were flailing spastically and just all screaming. The girl was just moaning and crying like she had been through hours of this. I woke up many times from that nightmare. I used to wet the bed when I had it." To which Kevin Hart responds, "I don't think that was a dream. I remember that. I remember that was an episode." Wait, hold on, wait. Does he remember the person wetting their pants? Or that wasn't a dream, wait. Alright, anyways. As Sky responds with, no, not possible. There was no plot or anything. I mean, literally, they were just standing in place, crying and screaming for the whole show." And Kevin Hart responds, "Maybe I'm manufacturing the memory because you said that, but I swear to God, I remember seeing what you described. They just screamed." And then Jaren comes back into the chat with, "Oh God, yes, the little girl Janice. I remember seeing her shake, and the skin taker screaming through his gnashing. I'm assuming the G is silent. Gnashing teeth. His jaw careening so wildly that I thought it would come off its wire hinges. I turned it off, and it was the last time I watched. I ran to tell my brother, and we didn't have the courage to turn it back on." And then Mike responds with, "I visited my mom today at the nursing home. I asked her about when I was little in the early 70s, when I was 8 or 9, and if she remembered a kids show called Candle Cove. She said that she was surprised I could remember that, and I asked why. She said, because I used to think it was so strange that you said, 'I'm gonna go watch Candle Cove now, Mom,' and then when you tuned the TV to static and juts, you just watched dead air for 30 minutes. You had a big imagination with your little pirate show." And that's how it ends. That's the twist.
Okay, real
What?
quick. Do you guys have a lot of background noise right now going on?
For me?
Anyone?
Or-
Because I hear like muffled talking or screaming in the background, and I don't know where it's coming
You
from.
know, it could be, hold on, it could be that my
Or like
window didn't
wind.
close all the way.
Because it's not someone
Oh.
screaming.
It's just ambiance, you know, people
Yeah,
screaming,
people
you know.
screaming in my headphones
that
all of
adds
a
to the
sudden. I'm
horror.
like, what?
Yeah,
Muffled
dude.
screaming in the background.
This
Does
is
it
the
make
unconventional
like a
fiction,
whistle sound?
creepypasta that we're writing right now.
Does it make like a whistle sound, your window?
I don't think. I mean, it's probably like the wind that's like coming in through the window. Because my desk is literally right next to the window, so it could be like if wind comes in, maybe it's picking up on the microphone.
Yeah, we hear like, but it's like kind of like a whistle.
It could be there's little kids
It's like-
outside. I can hear like in the distance.
So like,
Yeah.
it's like, am I imagining things?
Yes, you don't know what you're talking about.
No, there's no background noise. What? It's because it's our
But then
beats.
you look
It's
so
because
confused. What
it's
happened?
our beats, so they pick up everything.
So, okay, with all due respect, shut up for a second. So this whole fucking story is essentially people that sat in front of a TV with static and imagined the show, and they all just so happen to imagine the same thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a stupid ass story. I don't want to do this no more. Anyways, that was it for today, you guys. Have a good night and just leave.
I think my imaginary screen was better.
No, dude, like I legit read through this, like I blitzed the shit out of it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, so they're describing a show, and it's
Yeah.
the way that this is delivered is through chat. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. So it's not an actual story; it's just people talking about their experience, and I'm so
Yes.
freaking livid because I'm listening to you talk about it, and I'm like, okay, good pace, I get it. All right, there's a show. and they're describing the characters and XYZ, and they're describing the characters, and then you said about the mom, and I'm like, what the fuck does the mom have to do with anything? And it's like, oh, he went to go see the mom, and the mom told him, hey, you literally just watched Static. This is stupid. Like, I thought they were gonna say something like, I don't know, I don't even know where this was going. Like, I can't even tell you.
That's the twist, right when the mom says you look at TV Static, that's when the boom, like sound effects come in, like what?
Nah, this is a waste of your time.
That's what I'm saying. You never know with the creepypastas, It's like this one is one of the more like well-known, like famous creepypastas because you gotta also understand like a lot of creepypastas, especially the more famous ones, they came out like an early internet kind of thing. So like there's not a lot of like stuff that you could compare it to at the time because they were all like original like short stories and whatnot. I don't know if let me see. Was there anything? Does it talk about? I'm trying to see if there was more lore or anything that like the author might have added, like maybe like sequels to it or addendum or stuff like that. But I know,
isn't that the plot of the movie The Poltergeist, where kids just watch Static?
Well, the kids watch Static because of the actual spirits of the house. No,
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Because like I remember, Poltergeist was the house that they moved into was built on top of an Indian burial ground.
Is Poltergeist in the Amity Square or whatever story?
Oh, the Amityville?
Yeah, are those the same thing?
No, those are two different things.
Oh, but just very similar. Spirits hunting a house.
It's kind of like spirits hunting a house and like a family and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, but like the stories themselves are different. Because I don't remember if. Because I think the house itself is haunted in the Amityville that like drives the people insane or like drives them to like kill like their family or whatever. Whereas Poltergeist, it's literally like the spirits of the people that are buried under the house. Because the whole thing with Poltergeist is that the reveal, spoiler alert, was that the house, right? Yeah, the house was built on top of an Indian burial ground. And the guy was just so cheap that he didn't even bother moving the bodies. He just built the house on top of the grounds. And so the spirits...
Sorry, is that the movie where they actually used real human remains?
Yes. Yeah.
And then the majority of the cast died due to weird...
There was... I think so.
That's a creepypasta.
That's... Yeah, several actors, Several actors had, like, died. Let me see.
I remember Dead Meat used to do, like, production stories from hell or something like that, where they, like, broke down.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, you want to hear something creepy? Watch Cuentos de la Cripta. That's creepy.
Cuentos de la Cripta? Oh, God, let me.
That's a lot of words.
And in Spanish.
Yeah.
No, dude, you guys wanna hear really sad and creepy stories?
Oh, Tales of the Crypt. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cuentos de la Cripta. I just said that.
Well, no, but I know what it Tales from the Crypt because I know the English.
This is American.
Right.
America.
Unless is there like a Spanish version of Tales of the Crypt, or is it just like like Spanish?
It's just dubbed.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of either one.
Tales from the Crypt is very good. It's basically like it's an anthology show. Every single one is like a short story that's like about different things. It's adult.
This is kind of a bury me problem. Nothing wrong with anthology with the thing. I just don't like anthology series. I don't like the investment I put into it for it to not matter 10 minutes later.
Yeah, but that makes sense though. Because like for example, right here where I live up the street, well not up the street, but like on the other side of town, right? There's a story, I don't know how true it is, but there's a elementary school there. And the thing about that elementary school is that the main road is like towards like these mountains, right? And essentially this this elementary school, when you pass by the elementary school and you look directly at it while you're driving past it, some of the classes can be something like the classrooms. You can see them from the street while you're driving. So as you know, sometimes janitors, they leave the lights on to clean or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Pero they're supposed to turn them off, right? So sometimes when you pass by the street and you go by slowly and you look through the window and try to see the other side of the building where it's like a little patio where the playground is, people have said that inside of the playroom, inside of the classroom, sorry, there's children in there playing. Right?
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. Yeah, but this is like when the sun comes down, right?
Yeah.
So people have said that because the sun rises on the east, settles on the west. So the west, yeah. So when the sun's coming down, you can kind of see inside of the classroom. So sometimes the lights go in and it casts shadows. You know, it's a classroom. There's a bunch of different shapes or whatever. But people swear that when it's pitch black outside, because in that area it's like out in the boonies almost, so there's not a lot of light. There is lamp posts, but it's not a lot of light. They say that the lamp post that shines into the fucking classroom, is stagnant, so it doesn't move. But things inside the classrooms move. Okay. Years ago, for the sake of the story, I'm not gonna put quotes. I'm not gonna put exact locations because I don't want people to find out because it's part of the story. Yeah. Point being is, years ago, there was a teacher. There was two teachers. There's a male teacher
in a class. Insane, unheard. I'm sorry. It was a teacher.
So there was a guy teacher and there was a lady teacher, right? For the sake of the story, we're gonna call the guy Emmett and the lady Joanna or whatever, right? So Joanna loved being a teacher because she couldn't have kids, right? And Emmett, he was just a teacher. He just liked working with kids, I guess.
Yeah.
The issue was that some kids stopped going to school, or reverse, they stopped leaving school somehow. Like their parents would show up and they would say, "Oh yeah, I'm here to pick up XYZ," and they'll be like, "He never showed up," even though the parents said, "Oh hey, no, I dropped them off in the morning. Like I know I dropped off my kid in the morning. Where the fuck is my kid?" So they would like literally, the kids would not show up to school and they would never leave the school.
They were Houdini.
Because the parents would say, "Oh yeah, I never picked them up. Like I never picked them up." And the parent and the teachers would say, "No, you were here yesterday. You picked up your kid." So they were saying that some of the teachers were lying, right? They were saying that they were lying and that they were keeping the kids in school. So one day, a parent takes a picture of the school, and for whatever reason, like his kid is like right there in front of him. Like they took a picture of the kid with the school right in the background. Didn't think nothing of it. He was his first day or whatever. So when he went to go pick up the kid, he was like, "Oh yeah, how is that? How's the school? Whatever." The kid was all happy. He was telling him whatever. A few months go by. The dad drops off the kid. Mr. Emmett and Miss Joanna take the kid and they take it to class. They do their thing. But when the dad comes back, Emmett and Joanna tell him, "Oh yeah, you never dropped off your kid. Like, you never dropped them off. Like we actually called you, but you never answered. Oh, he's because I was at work or whatever, right? So yeah, but you never dropped off your kid. What was your kid's name?" And he's like, "Oh, well, it's so and so and so and so, and they're about this tall, blah blah blah." So yeah, we don't have anyone on file that has that name, so we don't know. We don't know what. So they would change the story live, like they would tell him something, and then they would kind of gaslight him into believing that the kid's not there. So the dad's like, "Well, where's my kid? Like, where did I leave my kid?" So a whole show started, and every single parent that would happen to, the police would get involved, and they would say, "We don't know where your kid is." Like, but you swear that yeah, he's not home. So they would do a search, and they wouldn't find the kids. So apparently, what was happening was that Emmett and Joanna, they weren't married, but they would pretend they were married at school because the kids loved them so much. They'd be like, "Oh, this is Dad Emmett and Mom Joanna. They're cool with us. We never want to leave because they're so sweet to us. They're cool. They let us play. They don't give us homework. Blah 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 blah." So the other the other students that weren't taken or missing, they didn't like Emmett or Joanna because they had something about them that they didn't like, right? So the dad that took a picture grabbed that picture and showed it to the a police officer. And when he showed him the picture, the police officer was like, "Oh, hey, you know that kid, who's that kid in the window? Why does your kid come out twice in the window? How did you do that trick?" And the dad said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So he grabs the picture, and it's the kid, right? In one side, behind the kid there's a window, but it's that same kid inside of the window, right?
Okay.
So they were saying that somehow Emmett and Joanna were kidnapping the kids, killing them and keeping their bodies inside of the school, so they wouldn't, so their souls would never leave. So they were saying that they would only take kids that look similar, that look alike, like the same kid basically. So one of the kids that was missing had blue eyes, blonde hair, and it was a boy. He was like lanky. So they will gravitate to boys with blonde hair and blue eyes. And then for the girls it would be like brunettes and like black hair and stuff like that. They're very, very specific. So the dad said, "They have my kid somewhere." Because there's no way my kid just went missing one day to another.
Yeah.
So the reason why Emmett and Joanna got caught was because before they killed one of the kids, that kid got out and ran into the street and almost got hit. So he told the guy, "Oh, this and that." But unfortunately, oh, your cat.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the kid didn't make it to the hospital because he was like emaciated. He wasn't eating, and he had like a lot of bruises, a lot of cuts or whatever. But he told the guy that almost hit him in the middle of the street, told him like, "Oh, Miss Emmett and Miss Joanna are hurting me. They don't let me see my mommy and daddy or whatever." So the dude goes to the police, and when he took the kid or whatever to the doctor, he reported all that. So the police went to the school, and they didn't see anything wrong. As a matter of fact, Emmett and Joanna were not even there. So the following day that it was supposed to be a school day, Emmett and Joanna were just gone. Gone. Like they never existed. But kids that go to that school swear that they see an older man and an older lady holding hands and walking with a bunch of kids together in the middle minutes before recess. And then for whatever reason, the playground looks full of kids that are not from that school, but it's the dead kids. The dead kids, like the souls, are there playing with the other kids. So they're saying that when you pass by that school, always drive slow because there might be a kid that comes out to tell you, "Hey, this is what's going on."
Damn.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a creepypasta because I just made the shit up.
That's a.
It's good for the kids that they're still playing in the afterlife, though. That's good for them.
Yeah, good for them. That's the only good. That's a sad thing though, because like that's the only good thing that happened to them. They died where they were happy, which was they were playing, but God only knows what was going on outside of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's a creepypasta right there.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go. Unconventional Connections original.
Yeah, the Unconventional Connections original creepypasta.
That's a clip it and chip it.
Yep. Oh my god. But yeah.
Right. So you didn't like Candle Cove, Beto, then?
No, I think it's stupid. At least the story that I just told you guys, it has some shock to it and has some twist to it. I just kind of made it up as I went, but I at least tried.
You tried. That's all that matters.
I should have said that they committed suicide before they got caught, and that's why they got stuck with the kids.
They should have.
That's where I was getting to. Like at the end they committed suicide, and the kids got stuck with them.
It doesn't make sense.
Is that absolute peak? Is that like the #1 podcast all on YouTube?
Yeah.
I guess.
Subscribe and leave a like. Make sure to click that bell.
Why did he give you a bait pen?
It's like one of those like pretzels that are, like have chocolate on.
Why did he give you a bait pen?
Oh yeah, this is the official Unconventional Connection vape pen.
There you go.
Get it now while supplies last, you guys.
This episode is sponsored by Fume.
Nah, don't do that.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
It was a joke.
Unless.
No, you know what stories I like that are
Hmm.
like murder mysteries, or like I like stories that have such an impact. Not because it's, oh, who would have thought the nicest guy ever was the killer and he convinced other people. No, my favorite ones are the ones where you know it's gonna happen, but it's the way it happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
I can't think of
Mhm.
any. I can't think of anything right now that has that.
Ask your
But I
brother what his favorite creepypasta is.
Yeah, Nick, what's your favorite creepypasta? Hold on, you gotta say it to the mic, dog.
I mean, I don't know that much. Probably like, I don't know. It's kind of like cringy, kind of like I guess Jeff the Killer. I guess
Okay.
I don't really know any creepypasta. It's that one dog. Like you look at the picture,
Oh, the smile dog.
smile dog.
Smile dog is another
That
one.
was pretty weird too.
I've never heard of Smile Dog.
That's about it. I don't know any others.
did I ever tell you guys the story when um la historia del maíz? It's the story of the ¿cómo se dice maíz en español, güey? En inglés.
Corn? Or
Or
maize?
corn, yeah, corn. Yeah, so back where I'm from, right? Well, not where I'm from. I'm here from here. But where my dad's from, right? My dad's from Mexicali. But he's from the pueblo. He's not from the city.
Mhm.
He's from the
Mhm.
valley, basically, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, way back in the day, when my grandpa and my grandma just settled there in that area, right? This is a true story. Well, it's according to what my grandparents told us, and my aunt and uncle that live out there. There used to be in that area. It's a lot of huertas, a lot of farming fields, right? So quinoa, a bunch of different vegetables, corn or whatever, right? So it's the
Mhm.
it's a giant main road, right? That cuts through the entire valley, and it separates the plots and everything, right? So my abuelo got the one on the left, and some random dude got the one up on the right side, but like up more, right? But he was a cool dude. Like he was chill. He wouldn't step his boundaries. Like he would just say, "Oh, buenos dias," whatever, and that's it. Like nobody thought about it, right? And keep
Yeah.
in mind, the pueblos were very small. Everybody knew everybody. So, that was that, right? So one day, when a bunch of me and my family members, we went to the ejido, to the pueblo or whatever, and it was a lot of us. It was like at least 20 of us just there out there playing in the middle of the night. We play hide and go seek. Now remember, this is the middle of butt fuck nowhere. Okay, there's no light, there's no lamppost out there. So if you leave the house, you're basically walking in the dark. Unless you have your phone or a flashlight, or if the moon is bright enough, you can see, right? Our abuelas told us, if you guys are gonna play, stay on this side of the street and do not go anywhere near the corn, because it was already fully grown and tall, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, why? And she said, because you don't know what's in the corn.
I mean, that is true.
And I was like, no, no mames. I didn't say that to my grandma because I wasn't disrespectful to my grandma, right? But I was like, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking, what the fuck is the worst that could happen? You know what I mean? So one of my older cousins thought it was a good idea to go hide at the very edge of the corn where there's a little hill, right? So it's the street, right? I'm trying to see if I can do it. So it's the street. This is the side where the other guy is, right? You can see the tops of the corn. But from here to here, this little space, it was a little dip downwards. Just very, very small, not big, right? I was able to run across the street and duck inside of that little thing and just peek my head out to see over the street. Very freaking dangerous because cars still zoomed by, right? But you can see that because of the light. But my cousin, he was right next to me. And he told me,
he wasn't.
No, shut up. He told me, he rubbed my back and he's like, gordo, gordo. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I'm going to go inside the maze. And I'm going to go inside the corn. And I'm like, no, grandma said not to. And he's like, nah, believe me. And then we hear someone moving. We heard someone in the corn. And I called out my oldest cousin. I was like, hey, are you in there? And we heard his voice go, sí, cállate. Shut up, we're hiding. And I was like, who's we? And I look over, and I could have sworn I saw 2 more people in there. So there was 3 people inside the corn. The way we play hide and seek is, the guy that's seeking counts or whatever, turns around, starts looking for people, in order for you to be tagged or called out or whatever, he has to see you and he has to say un, dos, tres on Isidro, for example, and then you have to point and you have to say, oh, he's over there behind the blue car or whatever, right?
Mm.
So if you see, so you have to call out where your name has to be called, and you have to be pointed out where you are. You have to physically point where you are, or where. Oh my God, damn it!
Where the
If you
person
are the
hiding
seeker,
is.
if you no, if you are the seeker, you have to put your hand on the base, which is usually like a door or a wall, a specific door or a wall. You have to point where you saw the person, and you have to call it out, the name, and you have to call out the location so that everybody else hears it. So you have to yell it out
name,
loud.
their social security, their
So
their
so
birthday.
your goal is to get to the base without him being there and saying un, dos, tres por mí, and you're safe, right? So that's the safe area. So the point is for you to go hide and come back, right? So my older cousins that knew how to play go hide and go seek, they knew tricks like throwing rocks to like make someone turn and go look somewhere and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know those tricks at the time. So I was just like, I'm gonna go in this direction, I'm gonna hide, wait until he leaves, and then run. Like book it straight, like beeline it straight to the base, right?
Yeah.
So there was 3 people in the corn. And my cousin that was right next to me, he looked at me and he told me, Gordo, run. And I look over at the base, because you got a clear shot at the base. My cousin that was it, he was right near the base, and I was like, no, I can't yet. And he's like, no, Gordo, get up and run. I fucked the game. Go get up and run. And he got up and he just booked it. Like he booked it. Like he didn't even look. No, he didn't look left or right. He just booked it. So I got scared, and I started running. But when I looked back, there was somebody in the corn looking at us.
Oh shit.
But it was just one person. It was just one person. Out of nowhere, my oldest cousin is running towards the base. My cousin, who's it, was on the other side of the wall, so he couldn't see me and my other cousin. But my oldest cousin, he was pale white. He was running. He was just booking it. So he saved himself. The 3 of us got saved or whatever, right? And I looked at my older cousin and I was like, when the fuck did you go around? He said, what do you mean? He's like, yeah, like you were in the corn behind us. Why did you go all the way around?
Yeah.
And he's like, Gordo, I was behind your dad's car the whole time. I was watching you. And I was like, no, you were behind us. And my cousin that was next to me, he's like, Gordo, cállate, like, shut up. And I'm like, why? What's going on? They're like, we need to stop playing. And I'm like, why? What's wrong? So we need to stop playing. Let's go inside. And we go inside. Everybody's already like on the inner part of the property. So we're all huddled up. So I was asking, and I went up to my grandma and I told her, hey, so why are we not allowed to play in the corn? And she's like, there's a story. And I was like, oh, okay. So it's a story within the story, right? So I was like, okay, cool. So what's the story? And he's like, many years ago, way before you, children's body parts were found inside of that corn. And I was like, no mames. It's just okay, whatever. She's bullshitting me, right? And I was like, okay. But me being respectful, I was like, okay, cool. Like, so I can't go over there because my limbs are gonna fall off or what, you know? So she's like, no, mijo, the neighbor would grab kids who would go hide in his corn, chop them up, and there's a theory that they say that he would eat them. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. That was her story. The issue is that same night I went up to her sister, my grand sister, my grand aunt or whatever. And I asked her the same thing. I was like, hey, is it true that there was a guy in that plot of land that used to live there that he chopped up kids? And she's like, yeah. I was like, why is everybody so serious about this? Like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, your grandpa and your grandma saw the man, and the neighbors at that time lost a kid because of that, and they were asking him like, oh, have you seen him or whatever? And the kids that were there at the time, it was like a group of 10, 15 kids as well, all swore that he kept running into the corn, and each time he would come back, he would be like more like exasperated, like something's chasing him. And that kid that went missing, told his friends like, oh no, it's because someone's in there hiding with me, and I think it's so and so who's it, and he's trying to beat me outside of the cornfield. But no, it wasn't a friend trying to outrun him. It was the dude trying to catch him.
Oh, damn.
So in el tiempo de during nights where the moon is bright, no nothing would happen. You could play and nothing would happen. But as soon as the moon started getting like dimmer, you would not go near it because you could hear someone walking in the corn. Not like making noises. No. You could hear someone walking, but you could smell the blood too. That's what they used to say. The kids used to say that. So my abuela said that. My abuela said that one time my aunts and uncles were playing, and that she saw a car dip into the corn, and then all of a sudden the car just left, right? But they don't know what happened until one of my dad's friends called my grandma, called all the adults, and they found a body there. They like someone dumped the body inside the corn. So they were saying don't play in that corn because it has these bad connotations of a murderer and people just dumping bodies there. So now that plot of land is off limits.
Oh, wow.
They like even the house got demolished. The house got demolished, and underneath the house there was like not a room. It's weird because you can't even consider it a room. It's more like a cubby, and in order for you to go in there, you have to hunch down. So they were saying that
yeah.
they were saying that he kept kids in there because on the wall there was like scratching, but it's like stone.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't stone. It was como se llama the lodo adobe. It was like adobe. So at some point they're saying that he kept kids in there and that there was like blood and like smears of like blood, and also like they had a bucket or something to go to the restroom in there, and you could see you could tell like the splatter and the like the stain, like someone went to the restroom there. And they were saying that when they demolished the house, like it felt wrong, like something was there. So for a few years now, they haven't grown corn in that plot of land. They've only grown plants that are very short. So people that have lived there their entire lives, they know that story. But it's been so long that people kind of just forgot about it. But I remember how my grandma explained it to me, and I do apologize because I'm not explaining it how my grandma did, because she added all this drama to it. Because she said that she told me, she's like, oh, kids went missing, like at least 5 kids were missing within one summer.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was just like, that's a lot for one person. That's a lot, And then she's like, yeah, but the thing is that he wasn't okay in the head either. Like the guy was, he was nice to people, but he was like, he wasn't 100% there. And he was a child molester for sure, because he would ask like the neighbors like, oh, I need help with this and that. Can you send me so and so? And he would ask for specific kids, right? And the parents would be like, oh no, he's in school and this and that. Oh, well, I'll wait for him or whatever. Like he would ask them to come over, and then sometimes the kids would be like, yeah, I don't want to ever go back there, but they wouldn't say why. You know what I mean? Sometimes they'll say, oh, it's because he smells weird, like he smells like he doesn't shower, or he smells like he doesn't like wash himself, or and his teeth were all gross too, like he had been eating shit he wasn't supposed to be eating. Like they said that when he would laugh, the back of his teeth were like black, but they were still there. Like so you've seen those weird gross teeth pictures where like it's like the teeth and it's like a hole and it's black? It's not like that. It's like their teeth were painted, like his teeth was painted black. And like the front teeth, like the ones they used to like chop, like to tear, those were like a little bit like sharper almost, but his entire like front part of the teeth were like yellow and like almost brown, but his back ones were like very, very black. And they were saying that the tip of his fingers, the nails were like wide and they were cracked, like broken into the actual finger. So the nail and like the nail inside of the finger right here was cracked, like broken, like split open. So one of the neighbors' like grandkids, someone my age, we were having a party. He came over or whatever, and this was recent too. This was like 2-3 years ago. I asked, I was like, hey, is the story of the corn true? And he's just like, yeah, it is. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, what do you know about it? And he's like, well, one of the kids that was missing was one of my great uncles. And I was like, oh my
Oh
god.
damn.
Okay, I was like, okay, so how did that go? And he's like, well, we don't talk about it. And I'm like, so I don't want to be fucked up. Like I don't live here, but you're telling me that there was a serial killer right across our family home. And he's like, yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, yep. And I was like, oh my god. Okay, cool. So he died or what? And he's like, well, it depends on what side of what story you want to listen to. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because some say that he died in that house, and that's why whenever there's corn there, his spirit comes back to haunt. Or he just died of an old age, or he killed himself in the corn because they found an adult
Mm.
body there one time during
Mm.
his time, during the guy's
Yeah.
time or whatever. He's like, other grandparents say that they hung him in his property, in the tree, in the one tree that he had in his entire property, that they legit went up to him
Mm.
and they lynched him. So I asked my grandpa, I asked my grandma, and my grandma was like, honestly, mijo, I don't remember. I don't remember which is true or which one's not. And I'm like, oh shit, an open-ended story, hell yeah. So, so, so whenever I go over there, every single time I look over, and I remember well, actually this is like last year. One of my cousins, he was having a cigarette closer to the road. I was like, oh hey man, what's up? Like, why are you here by yourself? It's your house. You can smoke wherever you want. And he's like, nah man, sometimes I gotta be by myself. And I'm like, okay, cool. But he was like staring at the cornfield. And he's like, Gordo, you remember that one time we were playing hide and go seek? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you remember, huh? And I was like, yeah, the story. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's real, dude. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what do you want me to do? I don't live here, dude. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't live here. I don't care, you know? And he's like, real, dude. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you know? And he took a
Friday
long ass
night.
drag of his cigarette. No. He's like, he took a long ass drag of his cigarette, and he's like, you remember how he looked like? And I'm like, no, because I never saw him. And he's like, well, I seen someone in that cornfield many times, and every single time I would go to say hi or to see who even is there, he would just disappear. But it always smelled like it always smelled like rotting flesh, and like when you don't brush your
Mm.
teeth. And I was like,
Mm.
that's weird. And he's like, yeah, but I could also hear like laughter, like giggling, like kids giggling. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, why are you telling? I was like, are you drunk or like why are you telling me this? He's like, I haven't talked to nobody about this in years, but like it bothers me. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, just don't look that way. How about that? And he's just like, yeah, you're right. Let me finish my cigarette. And I was like, yo, you want company? And he's like, yeah, low-key, I kind of scared myself. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just sit here. And then I look across the street. And it's just a wall of pitch black. You can't see the horizon. You can't see the next town over. You can't see nothing. It's just a veil of black. And I'm just like, could you imagine if someone just towards us right now? Like, could you imagine? And he's just like, let's get the fuck out of here. So he goes and we close the gate and we move him back. And think about it. He's like 4 or 5 years older than me. And he was just like, nah, fuck that. And he just went back. He's like, nah. Because I could totally imagine like his spirit is still here and he's haunting and he's like waiting. Like he's like Jeepers Creepers. Like he just waits for the corn to grow or something. You know what I mean? And I'm just sitting there thinking like, could you imagine if ghosts were real? And he's just like, stupid, don't you? Like, did you not just hear what I told you? And I was like, nah, dude, because, like, I believe in stuff, but Grandma also told me that if you believe in it, you have to believe that you're stronger than them, that you have to be better than them, basically. I was like, he's like, okay, so what would happen if someone just booked it towards us, screaming and yelling? And I'm like, I would probably just start swinging. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? What would I do? I will just start swinging and screaming. You know what I mean? I'll call for my dad. You know, I'm like, dad, but I'll be swinging. You know, Evan.
Every single time, like, someone brings up that scenario or, like, something like that, it's like, oh, like what if, like, one example that I always love to bring up is, like, if it's, like, late at night, and, like, I'm at the top of the stairs, right? And, like, I'm going to the bathroom or something, and I look down at the bottom of the stairs, and there's someone that I don't know, or, like, something down there that's just looking up at me, I'm turning into Jeff Hardy and swanton bombing from the top step onto whoever's down there. I might not make it, but if someone's already in my house ready to come upstairs, I might not make it anyways, so might as well swanton bomb on top of them, get ahead of the curve, right? It's like the same thing of like, oh, what if someone's like running full sprint? It's like, dude, I'm running full sprint at them and drop kicking them, bro.
Look,
like,
are your stairs curved a little bit?
No, it just goes straight down.
Mm.
Now, granted, there is like a little thing right here, so if I swanton, I might hit myself and go down. But at that point, I'm already committed to it. So
Yeah. I don't remember your stairs layout. I haven't been to your house in years.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. Here in my garage, it gets dark. And my thing about the dark is not, oh, it's dark, I'm afraid. No, I'm afraid because I don't know what's there.
Oh, I remember this
You
quote.
know what I
Like
mean?
people aren't afraid of the dark. They're afraid of what's in it.
Yeah. So
I think Mike
because
froze.
in my, oh, did we lose Mike?
I think Mike froze.
Oh no, Mike!
Power. He's not the same. I have power lights on, and his power went out again, probably.
Oh, there he
Is
is.
Yeah, there he
my
is.
back?
Yeah.
Am I back? Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
What
Everybody
happened?
just started I don't know, everyone froze. I'm like, what happened? My internet's fine. Everything's fine. Oh no.
Yeah. Just like
Look,
froze. And I was like,
so you know
oh.
how you said that you would just do that bomb thing and just floor yourself on there?
Yeah.
So this is the thing I do whenever I get scared. I get scared and I'll be like, I'll fucking kill you. Like I don't know why that is my safety net. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
so I open the door to my room to go out, right? So I have to go out the door to the left. There's another door, a couple steps, but there's a little walkway. But it's so dark that you can't see what's in front of you. So sometimes I just shine my light or whatever. But because I'm ballsy sometimes and I'm bold and I'm him, I can walk to where the light switch is without having to like fall, trip, eat shit, flick it on, and then go outside and do what I gotta do. But because the garage isn't well insulated, sometimes the gusts of wind push things around and it makes noise. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not like nice. Don't do what I do. But I'll be high as shit, dog, right? And like I'll be so high that like I get paranoid, right? And I'll hear like movement and I'll be like, bitch, I'll kill you, but I'll square up. You know what I mean? Like I'll square up. And my thing is, my grandmother told me, because my grandmother was mystic as fuck. Like she knew things, right? and she knew things, and she bore witness to. And my dad did too. He had to burn a Ouija board. That's why I don't touch Ouija boards. I don't touch anything that has to do with that kind of stuff because I know the consequences.
Yeah, no, I don't
of that.
touch. I know that like people will say like, "Oh, it's made by like Hasbro." Or whatever. I don't give a fuck, dude. Like,
No.
I'm not touching a Ouija board, dude. I'm not laying a single finger on that, dude.
It's not even who made it. It's what it's for. That
Yeah.
It's if you know what it is and you know what you're doing, it's gonna get worse. But if you don't know what you're doing,
Oh yeah.
maybe there might be a little bit more sympathy towards you, but no, like it's not. Demons. But anyways, that's not the point. We're not getting that political. The point being is
political.
the point being is that my grandmother used to tell me. I'm gonna tell you guys. I'm gonna ask you guys. Does it ever happen to you? You'll be minding your business, and all of a sudden the door just opens by itself.
It used to, like, back in my old house when I used to live in LA. There would be times where that would happen.
Okay.
Especially our front door.
Okay, so check this out. For Isidro, every single time his door slightly moves, I get scared because of this. Okay? And I know it's the cats. I know it's the cats or it's your mom or your sister passing by and the door kind of wiggles, right?
Yeah. So
mi abuela used to say that when doors open by themselves is because it's a spirit or some entity trying to get in. So if you don't hear them or you don't see them, they'll try to sneak in. But
I think my grandma used to say the same thing too.
So
because of the door our front door would always like swing open, and it was always after the time where my grandpa had passed away. So like she would mention that, and she would always say like, oh, it's probably your grandpa just coming into the house or something.
No, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that.
But
without due respect to your without due respect, but this is what my grandmother said, right? That she told me that spirits or evil spirits sometimes are people that got stuck here and couldn't go to the next part. like so
Yeah.
purgatory,
Like
hell,
purgatory, yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to be stuck here is miserable.
Mm.
So they do shit to feel alive, to feel something, or to even ask for help.
Yeah.
But because the mortal and the spiritual realm are not bonded like that anymore, once you die, you're dead. You're no longer allowed to be over here in the physical world or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You're not, as someone who's in the here, you are not allowed to make contact because you're breaking the cycle that's supposed to be or whatever, right? So me decía mi abuela, always make sure that you push your doors, and if you need to lock them, lock them. I'm like, okay, cool. And she said, but if for whatever reason you close a door and you lock it and you're minding your business and it opens, she said, immediately stand your ground, look at the door, and say, you are not welcome here. Leave and close the door.
Mm.
And I was just like, I'm 6. I don't need this. I got adults for this. You know what I mean?
That's so crazy, because like, because we used to live, I guess it's not doxing because we haven't lived there in years and whatever, and we don't really have ties to that. We used to live in Southgate, right, for like until I was like 8. And like, yeah, like we like lost our house in like 2008, right? But when we lived in that house, well, me and Aaron, we found out that it was haunted the day that like we started moving stuff out, right? And my mom was telling about, because my dad, he used to go like to travel like for business and stuff like that, because he like would, I think like the company would have him like go to different job locations in different states and stuff like that for the company. And my mom would tell us that apparently there was an old lady who lived in the house before us, and she died. And she was saying that like her ghost was still in the house because, and like granted the old lady was there, like my mom was saying that like what she was told is that like she was a nice old lady and stuff, she just happened to pass in the house. But when it was just her by herself and my dad would be on a business trip and stuff, she would hear stuff, right? And she would have like a dog, and the dog, when she would let the dog out, sometimes like the dog wouldn't want to come back in. Like it would just like growl at the doorway. It wouldn't like want to come in, right? And so she would be in our living room, and our living room's kind of connected to the dining room that's connected to the kitchen, right? So it's just all like one walkway. And so she would hear the fridge opening and closing, cabinets opening and closing, and she would hear like dishes being moved, right? But when she would look, there would be nobody there, and stuff like that. And so there was at one point where she got tired of it, and she was like watching TV in the living room, and she saw, when she was by herself, she saw next to her the cushion like go down, right? Like as if somebody was sitting on it.
Bitch.
Right? And
bitch.
my mom, she straight, the way that she explained the story is that she looked at the, like in the direction of the ghost, and she told the lady that like, I understand that you're, no longer here and that this was your house, but you need to understand that this is my home now. This is like mine and my husband's, and we're planning on having kids. We're planning on raising a family. You can't be here anymore, right? And she would be talking to the ghost, like saying like, I'm sorry for what happened to you, but you just can't be here anymore. I can't have you like around and like doing all this stuff. And like since then apparently like there was like less doors opening and closing, cabinets like moving stuff around and whatnot, right? Also, apparently, this is the story that Aaron and his friend claimed to have seen. I don't know if maybe they were just going along with the story or not. But on the day that we're moving, we, in one of the pathways that leads to like all the rooms, there's like a little area that leads to all the rooms. In that area, there's a closet, and the closet leads to the attic. And so apparently we had the ladder set up to take stuff out from the attic. And Aaron and his best friend were like climbing up the attic, and Aaron's best friend says that he saw somebody in the attic, like sitting in the corner, right? And so apparently when he like turned down to tell Aaron about like, hey, there's somebody here, he turned around, and apparently it was like right in his face. And so he dropped down, he fell on top of Aaron. right? And so, and like after that, like they never saw it again. And that's the story that they tell too. And that was also the day that that's the day we found out that our house was haunted.
Check this shit out, okay?
Yeah.
So now that I've told you what my grandmother told me about, hey, when you open the door, you know, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I used to sleep with my tia a lot when I was a little kid, because especially like Friday nights and Saturday nights, because I would like getting up in the morning to watch cartoons with her, because we used to watch cartoons together. The issue is that there was always something in that house, in my grandparents' house. And keep in mind, it's the corner house, right? And it's my house. My house is in the corner of the streets. Then it's the neighbors, and then it's my grandparents. But I loved being there because grandma and grandpa were there, and my aunts and uncles were there, so it was really chill, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that even as a kid, I remember that there was always someone watching me, and always was with me at all times. And as an adult, I say, well, I always had a big imagination. So I had imaginary friends. I had imaginary, like, I would imagine that I was a dragon slaying knight or whatever, or I was a samurai that killed ghosts and stuff. And I was actually really ingenious, because I would make my own like swords and stuff out of wood. I would shape it and stuff like that. I was really good. I was legit when I was a kid. The thing about me when I was a kid, I was very nice. I was very happy. I was always smiling. Like, I was legit the definition of just being a joyous person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to church one time, and keep in mind I was like 5'6", and I remember this because I confused this lady for my abuela, and I sat next to her in church, because I went to the restroom and then I came back, and I accidentally sat with this lady, and this lady was like, "You're not supposed to be here." And I look up at her and I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were my abuela." And she grabbed my hand. And she's like, "You need to wear protection." I'm like, huh? And she's like, "You need to start wearing a rosary." And she didn't yank it off of her, but she did it off in a hurry, and she put it on me. And I was like, "Okay, lady, thank you so much. I appreciate it." You know, I'm over here all scared or whatever. And my abuela walks up, and she gently holds my hand, and she tells the lady, "Thank you very much. Thank you for the gift. We'll accept it. But what for?" And the lady's like, "Your boy, is this your son?" And she's like, "No, I'm too old to be his son, her son, his son.
Yeah.
This is my grandson." And she's like, do any of your boys have something with them?" And she's like, "No, they never had that that evil." And keep in mind, I'm just visiting the conversation.
Casual conversation.
Yeah, you know. But they were talking like low, right? Like abuelitas do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the lady's like, "No, no, no, Señor que lo bendiga." And she started praying. But like, she started praying in a way where it scared me, because like she was like looking up, and like her eyes were like white, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm being cursed right now." And my abuela, she just rubbed my head, and she just like bowed her head, and she was just saying the same thing. But I couldn't understand, because we're going too fast, you know, like Eminem, you know, like that, you know what I mean? So I was like, "Okay, well, cool, whatever." But everywhere I went, I always smiled at people, and I was, "Oh, hi, hola, buenas noches, buenos días," whatever. I was always very happy. But I noticed that the older people always noticed something. All the older religious people noticed something, and I was like, "Okay, cool. Maybe they're just jealous because I'm young and they're about to die." Anyway, so no, actually, as a kid, I really did understand the concept of death, and I understood the concept of heaven and hell and the purgatory. I knew all this because my abuela taught it to me. So I knew what death was. Like, I knew that you could die of many things. You know what I mean? So one day my abuela's telling me, she asked me all these questions. She's like, "Mijo, do you ever feel like you're alone?" I was like, "No, I'm here with you guys. I never feel alone." And she's like, "But how about when you're by yourself?" "I'm always with someone. Nobody ever leaves me alone, except when I go potty." You know what I mean? But then I just go potty and then come back. You know what I mean? She's like, "Do you ever dream of someone?" And I'm like, "No." She's like, "Okay. When you sleep with your mom, do you pray?" I'm like, "No. You only pray here at the house when you go to bed." "Yeah." And she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna talk to your mom. You need to start praying before you go to bed." I'm like, okay, cool. I don't mind doing it. I'm talking to Father God, so why would I not? Because back in the day, I used to think that God was my dad, but spiritually, you know, like you know, the
Well, I mean,
mentality of
it's also because like the way that church does it is they say, you know, Padre Dios, or
yeah,
you know, Padre Nuestro, stuff like that.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
it's always referred to as the Father and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So I grew up believing that God was my creator and
Mm.
my and like un padre basically, right? That's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I don't mind praying at home. I just thought it was something I would do at grandma's house because the idea was that praying
Mm.
you do it at grandma's house. Everybody else it doesn't matter. But my
Yeah.
abuela told me no, you need to pray every single time you need God, and I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. We're not gonna go back that into it. But the point is, she told me I need to start praying.
So not to
The
get
thing is,
political, but
yeah, the thing is that whenever I would sleep in my mom's room, there was always shadows in that room. And the
Mm.
thing is that in the window of my mom, it points out towards the street, and there's a lamppost. So the room has light in it. Like you can see in the you close your eyes, you open it, you can see stuff. It's not as bright. You can still sleep. Like you can still sleep, you know, but you could tell where you are, right? The thing is that
Yeah.
when you would look up, the shadows would be in the corner of the rooms. And sometimes they would drift from one
Mm.
side. Oh fuck, I'm getting flashbacks. But you could see the shadow. If you were stare at the corner, it's like the shadow will stare at you. And if you were to to move,
Mm.
like if you were to look to the right, the shadow would like move right here, but then go to the left. And then if you would look at the
Mm.
other corner, there was already something staring at you. So I would always just hide underneath the covers and just stay quiet, you know, or try to fall asleep. And
Mm.
my mom would snore, so I couldn't really fall asleep right away.
Yeah.
Um, so a few days go by, and my grandmother tells me, "Did someone visit you in your dreams?" I was like, "No, like nobody. I don't dream like that. I dream of Power Rangers and Pokemon and stuff. I don't dream of no random ass person." So one weekend,
Mm.
this is when the story gets good. I had to build it up because of this. So one weekend, I'm minding my own business, and my tia Bella sometimes she would get up to go to the restroom. So when you sleep with someone next to you, you feel when they get up, and you feel when they
Yeah.
get down. You know.
yeah.
So whenever she would go to the restroom, I would just sprawl myself out, and she would have to like nudge me over, right? Which was
Mm.
she told me she hated it at the time, but now that we're older, she loved it because I was like her son basically. So, anyways,
Mm.
that night she didn't she didn't push me over, and I didn't feel her move me. That night, I felt someone was sitting on the bed and rocking like back and forth. So I was like, "What the
Mm.
fuck? Why is Bella like rocking on the bed? Like, what the fuck is she doing? That like, what's wrong?" So you know how like when you're coming out of your sleep and you start to hear, and then you start
Yeah.
making the
Mm.
consciousness starts to kick in. You're like, oh, I'm awake. Well, I heard her
Mm.
voice. I heard her voice, and I heard her praying. You know, but she kept repeating Padre Nuestro, Padre Nuestro. You know, like she kept on repeating
Mm.
a certain part of that because I don't remember all of it. I used to, but I don't remember all of it anymore. Mainly for this reason. Um,
Mm.
I I turned, and where the bed is, if you were to look straight is a wall, and then the door is off to the left, right? But that door
Mm.
is positioned in a way where if you look straight at the door, you can see the door that goes into the house. So I noticed that the door was open. The door of my aunt's bedroom was open. And she
Mm.
kept on praying, but she had her hands like this, and then she would like rock herself a little bit, and she would pray, and then sometimes she would look back. So when she looked at me and she saw that I had my eyes open, she's like, "Mijo, tápate y volteate," as in cover yourself and turn the other way. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, what's wrong?" And like I did this to look, and she did this to like for me to not look, and I'm thinking someone died and she doesn't want me to see something, right?
Mm.
But I shit you not, I heard, but I also felt someone calling me, like call me by my name, you
Mm.
know? So I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, is my dad here?" And she's like, "Cállate, no le hables, no le contestes." And I'm like, "Don't." She said, "Shut up, do not answer him." And I'm like,
Mm.
"Answer who?" But then I got ghetto. I was like, "Who?" You know, but like she was scaring me because I'd never seen her like that. And she
Yeah.
turned around and she said, "Lárgate la chingada de aquí. Get the fuck out of here. This is my
Yeah.
boy. I'm not letting you take him. get out,
Yeah.
leave. And she called out for my uncle, who would sleep in the living room. So my uncle was knocked out, but the door to the house, 2 doors, were wide open, and there was someone standing at the very foot of the door. His feet were not inside the house. He was literally standing at the very fucking frame of the door, and he was watching me. He was looking literally at me. Like, legit, like, you would imagine he's just standing like that. No, he was like this, like, trying to, like, get a look at me, like, see if I'm there. And I was just like, who the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And my dad literally turned around and threw a cobija on top of me, and she covered my face. She's like, and she started praying, but she kept on yelling Adan, which is my uncle that was in the couch. Yeah. She's like, oh, Adan, levántate, wake up, wake up, wake up. And this and that. And my grandma, my grandparents, they woke up. My tío woke up, but my tío swears, he says, I couldn't get up. He says, I couldn't wake up. I heard you calling me, but I couldn't. He's like, I was facing away from the door, and I had my arms crossed like this, like cuddle into the couch. He's like, I couldn't move my arms. I couldn't turn. I couldn't even breathe. And he's like, but I could feel someone open the door, and I could hear them call out to Gordo. And I was just like, oh, I almost got kidnapped. Cool. So for whatever reason, I ended up passing the fuck out. I don't remember why, but I ended up passing out. Passing out. And when I woke up, my dad was at the foot of the door, sitting there. And he was like rubbing my feet. And it kind of tickled, so I kind of like, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to wake you up, blah, blah, blah. So he woke me up, and he sat there with me, and he's like, what did you see last night? Not even buenos días, mijo. You know what I mean? No. He's like, ¿qué viste ayer? And I was just like, huh? He's like, ¿qué viste ayer? And I'm like, I don't remember. I think Bella was crying at the foot of the bed. She scared me because she yelled at me to not turn around. I was like, who did you see? And I'm like, I don't know, but there was a man at the door, and he's just like, did you see him? And I was like, no, I don't know who that was. I thought it was you. And he's like, did it see you? And I'm like, I think so, because it kind of did this to like look past Bella. Why didn't he just walk in? If he wanted me to say hi, I could have just. And he's like, you shut your mouth. And I'm like, huh? Like, well, what's going on? He's like, you never talk to strangers. You never talk to things that don't feel right. You need to learn to stop being so nice to people. And I'm like, damn, G, like that, you know? Like, and he's like, when you get older, I'll explain it to you. But every single time you go to bed, you need to start praying. And I'm like, damn, G, I kind of don't want to do this no more. You know what I mean? Like for real, Dad, you're gonna talk to me like that? So whatever. So I would ask Bella, my tia, I would like, hey, so what happened? Like, what was that? And she's like, mijo, I'm very scared and I don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I think you need to sleep with your mom tonight. Like, don't come tonight. I'm like, oh, okay. Blah, 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 blah. So minding my business or whatever throughout the day. And my abuela and my abuelo keep whispering. Like there's something going on, right? And I asked them, hey, so who was the dude, like, at the door? Blah, 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 blah. And they're like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, no, my guy, I'm worried about it. You know, like, it's like sometimes, no, like, my grandpa was trying to be nice. And he's like, mijo, sometimes there's things that you shouldn't talk about. And I'm like, so we're not going to talk about the fact that my tia woke up in the middle of the night to both her doors open. My uncle didn't get up when she yelled at him, and some dude was staring at me. Like, we're not going to talk about that. And my grandma's like, did he see you? I'm like, I'm assuming so, but who the fuck is it, you know? And my abuela just began telling me some dark ass. I don't even want to get into it because it's kind of creepy, but that's the whole point of the story, right? But, you know, basically, long story short, because it is quite a story. She said that sometimes the devil goes after people that are pure of heart, and he tries to make them their own. She's like, so we're thinking that you need to start wearing a rosary, and you need to start learning how to pray harder because we think the devil was at the door. And I was just like, why the fuck would you tell me this? Like, why would you tell a kid with a high imagination this? Why couldn't you just say, oh, some dude tried to break in and that's it. Let it go, little man. You know what I mean? Like, you couldn't come up with an elaborate dumbass story like, oh, hey.
To be fair, you were asking who it was.
No, I know. But my abuela had no business telling me that. But my abuela has been telling me like some dark mystical creature, like some she. I'm not saying my abuela was a witch. I'm not saying that because I'm not gonna disrespect my nana like that.
Yeah.
But she knew things. Like there was, you could tell
Yeah.
that her eyes could see more than what we could see, right?
Yeah.
So she told me, don't ever say hi to anyone who you do not recognize. And if you feel like you recognize them but you're not too sure, don't ask them. Do not ask them their name. Always make them tell you their name. And I was just like, okay, cool, all right, whatever. I'm not gonna get the fuck out of here then. So I left. That same night, my mom, she comes out of the shower. I'm already in bed. I'm ready to go to bed. And I tell her, Mom, there's someone outside the house. Right? I saw them through the window. And I was like, there's a man standing at the gate of the house. But he's like walking back and forth like he's like mad at something. And she's like, oh, fuck no. So she called my dad. My dad showed up within like 5 minutes. And he lives pretty far. I don't know where the fuck he was. I don't care. The point is, he showed up and he told my mom outside of the house. He's like, where's the boy? And I was like, what the fuck are you? My mom didn't believe in none of this shit. But whatever. He's like, I want to see my fucking kid. So my dad not broke in, but he came in and he's like, ya rezaste. And I'm like, you're scaring the shit out of me, dude. What's going on? And he's like, tápate y reza. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I started praying or whatever, and I slowly started falling asleep. So I was like, okay, cool. But I heard my dad say, I'm going to stay and sleep here just in case something happens. I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. Passed out. My fucking bitch-ass mom woke me up. With all due love and respect, shout outs to my mom, but like she woke me up at fucking 4 a.m, shaking me, telling me, Gordo, ¿ves eso? Like, you see that shit? And I'm like, huh? I look over at the window, there's someone like this on the window, like looking in. But you can't tell where their face begins. And like it was so weird. Like you could see like the their hands. You could see their hands on the fucking thing, but they weren't like humanoid hands. They had like claws, no sé cómo, and like they kind of like did this, like they like moved their hands downward, and you could see someone was staring in there, and I was like,
that's when I pull this out, dude. Like
that's hot. No,
that's a BB gun. Hold on, YouTube. This is fake. It's not real.
Like, what pissed me the fuck off was that she shook me awake and asked me, do you see that shit? And I was just like, yeah, who's that? You know, like, why is it, what time is it? And I look over at her clock, it's like 3:33 in the morning or some shit. And I'm like, oh, you should probably wake up my dad. All of a sudden you hear my dad like fumbling inside the living room, knocking over shit. And like he like opened the door, turned on the light, and you could see. And as soon as he turned off the light, nobody was there. Nothing was there. Like all you could see is like the plants that are like close up. There's these, you know, those plants that have like big leaves, right? It's like big leaves, but then there's the ones that are like they look like this, and it's like a stem, and it has like little fingers, like that. Yeah. And I told my mom, "Oh, you dumb bitch!" I didn't say that, but I was like, "You dumb." It was just the plants, Dad. They were on the window, blah 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 blah. And he's like, "Ah, okay, bro." He closes the door. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Like, you scared the shit out of me, Mom, but okay, thank you. Let me go pee real quick. I go pee or whatever. As I'm walking back, my dad's turning off the light. And I'm like, oh, I can't see. Huh, silly dad. And he's like, mijo, ven, blah, 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 blah. And I grabbed his hand. I recognized his hand, right? And he led me into the room because I could still kind of see. Like, I wasn't dumb. Like, I knew that was my dad. Like, I know for a hand, hands down, that was my dad. My mom was facing the other way, away from the window. I looked to the fucking window. And that thing is still there, like this, like that, like looking in. But this time, what felt even like now that I'm thinking, how fuck I'm getting like goosebumps. The thing that got me was the fact that my dad like got scared. Like he you could hear that he got scared because he left a light on. So something was there. But my dad said, "You're not sleeping in here." And he didn't pick me up because he didn't pick. I was too fat. I was never picked up. Okay, let's be honest. He was like, okay. He's like, act like you can't see it, but he's saying this in Spanish, right? And I'm like, too late. I'm already looking at it, like, you know, like. And my dumbass said, "Señor, you're scaring me. please leave. And that's something you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to acknowledge them. So my dad slammed the door hard on me, and I was like, bitch, I'm trying to sleep. You know what I mean? And he's like, go with your sisters. Go with your sisters. But my dumbass sisters, they would lock the fucking doors. So I would knock, and I'm like, Cody, Diana. And my dad was like, cállate, cállate, like, be quiet. Because he's thinking maybe there's someone out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, my sister opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pitch black in there, you know? And I'm like, turn on the light. She turns on the light. Everything's normal. Everything's fine. And I'm like, hey, so there's someone outside the door. Dad said to come sleep here. And she's like, okay, good, come in. So my sister knew something. I go in there, I hug one of my sisters, and I pass the fuck out. About 3 weeks go by. And my grandma, my aunt, everybody's just scared. They're just scared. Ironically, my grandmother's house across the street, one of my uncles used to live there. And one of my cousins, he used to have a lot of paranormal shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
One day they're remodeling, and one of those weeks they're remodeling, and they open what's it called when it's a part underneath the house, a cellar, right?
Oh, like the basement?
The basement, yeah, basement.
Mm-hmm.
And in it was a room, it was like a big room, but that basement had a door in it with red spray paint crossed on it, and chains on there. So my dad, he told all of us to get out because my dad had like a weird sixth sense, as you could tell, and he told all of us to get out, to leave the house. My tias, they grabbed their kids, they left, right?
Mm-hmm.
About 20 minutes later, I smell fire. And I'm like, they're like, oh, dude, they're doing the carne asada right now, fool, let's go. So me and my cousins, we start walking into the house, but we went around. Like, not through the house, we went around the house. Tell me why it was all our parents, our dads, right, my uncles, they were all standing in front of a fire burning a Ouija board. So my dad, he saw us and he got mad. And my uncle was like, hey, like, don't get mad. Like, remember, if you get mad, like, it will attach to you. So just relax. And we're going to have to talk to our kids. So one of my uncles, he took his kid, told him what happened. My dad straight up told me, hey, so this house is haunted. We're going to call a priest right now and we're going to exorcise it. And I'm like, what does that mean? You know, like what is, huh? Like, what does that mean? And he's like, mijo, he's like, something bad happened in this house. And I can't explain it to you because you're a kid. You're not going to understand it. But something died here and it stayed here. And me and my eternal wisdom, I was like, nah, Dad, that's not how that works. And he's like, oh, yeah? And my grandma I could hear my grandma shuffling into the thing. And she's like, oh, yeah, it's still here. And I was like, huh? I turned around and I was like, huh? She's like, well, yeah, it latched onto him. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, we're going to have to do something about that. So my dad and my grandma sat me down. They were like, yeah, so when you get mad or when it depends. There's a lot of variables to it. But sometimes when someone dies, they can't handle the fact that they died, or sometimes really bad things happen to someone and it's so bad that they stay stuck here. And I was like, then get unstuck. What the fuck? He's like, mijo, it's not easy. It's something you're gonna have to understand when you get older. Keep in mind, I was like 8, 9 around that time, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I was like, okay, cool, whatever, you know, it don't matter. I'll get over it or whatever. And sure enough, my dad told me when you get older, he's like, when you get older, I'll explain it to you. That when he says that, he means like in about a year, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
So my cousins told me like, oh, they had to exorcise the house, and there was a priest, and there was a lot of screaming, and that in the middle of the night you could hear footsteps, like you know how when dogs they have their nails really long and they like hardwood or anything that makes a sound, and you hear that little clickety clack. Well, they would hear that, but it would only be a pair of feet, not two. Not like a dog when it walks. Like it would just yeah. And they would say that sometimes, my cousin would say sometimes in dreams, when we're dreaming or we're sleepwalking, the hallway extends and there's something at the end of it, but we don't know what it is because it's like hunched down looking at us. So I was just like, oh, there's a demon in there. And when I said that, one of my older cousins was like, you shut your whore mouth. Well, he didn't call me a whore because we, you know, but he told me to shut up, you know? And I was just like, okay, cool, whatever, dude. So I was there when they exorcised the house. I was there when the priest came in. He was throwing holy water everywhere. But when I was in there, I swear to God, you guys, I heard someone speaking when the priest was speaking. So I would look at him and I would look at everybody else, but the priest was reading off of a book or a Bible or whatever, but he was saying stuff that I knew that was from the Bible because he was saying Padre Nuestro, Dios Eterno, like all this other stuff, and like he would say, I banish you from this from this house. This house no longer belongs to you. But every single time that he would speak, I would notice that nobody else would speak except people that were not in the room. But nobody else was in the room.
Yeah.
So I needed to go pee, and I tugged my grandma's the shirt. I was like, oh, I need to go pee or whatever, and she's like, no, espérate, shh. And I was like, okay, cool. So I sat there. So when the priest was done, it was quiet, and we just all heard nothing. But then I was like, there's someone moving. And the priest just looked at me like, what the fuck do you mean? And I was like, yeah, there's someone moving over there. And I point, and there's a wall. But behind that wall, there was a dining room. And underneath the dining room, that's where they found the basement. And he's like, yeah, something's down there. I think it's an animal. I think it's a dog. And they're like, no, the dogs are not in the house. They're somewhere else. I was like, no, there's something in there. So when the priest left, my dad came up to me. My grandpa wasn't there at the time. My grandma like held my hand. And he's like, and my grandma was like, start praying, close your eyes and start praying, and you need to cover your eyes, do not look. And I'm like, okay, and I felt something wet, like on my hands. And the priest was like, a ver, mijo, quita las manos, because I did this. But when I did this, that motherfucker splattered me with holy water. And I was like, what the fuck, like I was like, excuse me. I was like, I said over there, not here, like, you know what I mean? So, so the priest asked me the same things my grandma asked me over and over, and I was like, I mean, sometimes I hear people talking, but they're not talking to me. They're talking to somebody else. Or maybe it's because I just have super good hearing. Like I'm an X-Men or something, Like I would try to be me. Like I was being me. Like I was just being silly and funny.
Yep.
But I'm telling you guys the story in a very serious manner. But like the way I lived it was, I was being curious. I was being, like silly or whatever. And my parents would get frustrated with that because I didn't know that at the time there was someone or something latched onto me. So I didn't have an exorcism or nothing. It's not like I just went and I started transforming into no. I didn't do that, Like I didn't start like contorting and like getting all twisted and said, no, none of that happened to me. But what did happen to me was that the priest said, you're gonna have nightmares. Do not give in. And I'm like, huh? Like okay, whatever. So my grandma told me like that's one of the time when my grandma told me that when the devil comes to visit you, sometime he shows up as someone you love or someone you desire. Which is weird. How the fuck is a 9-10-year-old gonna desire someone, right?
No.
So she's like, sometimes it comes in the form of someone you love, like your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, your sisters, your aunts. Sometimes it even comes in as a dog or as a cat or a fish even. But what it's there to do, it's there to convince you to listen to him. And I was like, okay, so what does God have? When does God come to see you? And he's like, God's a lot more different. He's always with you. Is just that you have to believe in him. I was like, that's a really weird trade-off. Like, why the fuck can God just not come in? You know what I mean? Like, with all due respect, But I'm like, created everything. He can't just be like, aquí estoy, papi. You know what I mean? But the devil can. That makes no damn sense to me. And it makes me mad because my grandma really did instill with me the idea that the devil's really, really bad and all this other stuff, right? Which I agree. But as I got older, I started realizing many, many things that my grandmother told me. Like I don't know if I told you guys a story about like how Lucifer fell from heaven and all this other stuff. That's a whole different story. But for the sake of this story, after they did everything with the Ouija board and they cleansed the house or whatever, the priest went to my grandma's house and then they went to my mom's house. And in those 3 times, I had to be there. Like I had to physically be present. So I think that's how they exorcised me, I guess, if you want to call it that way. I don't know. But my house, after they exorcised it, it felt different. Like it felt more clean or like less pressure in it. And like certain shadows still remained, but they weren't there all the damn time. And then I would ask my mom, like, do you feel like more like like free in the house? Like, do you feel like no one's watching you? And she's like, I don't know. I don't give a fuck. And I was like, okay, cool. Thank you, Mom. And I asked my sisters, and one of my sisters was like, oh yeah, in the back pantry there used to be a guy hung himself there. And I was like, and you're telling me this now? Like, you're just, you know what I mean? But at the time, I knew what death was. I knew what hanging yourself meant. I knew when someone, I knew about suicide. I knew.
Yeah.
So my older sister, she's just, yeah, like one time I was asleep and someone pulled my hair, pulled my feet, did this and that. My dad saw it, blah 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 blah, and we ran to the pantry and the guy was there, just hung, and then he disappeared. And I was like, crazy, that's wild. But anyways, after all that, everything's fine, everything's normal. Like I don't, you know.
You're still here.
I'm still here somehow, and fast forward about, I want to say like 4 years. I was like 13. I was 13, 14 at the time. It happened again. Like something was watching me, but this time it would follow me. And I whenever, you know how like when you step on gravel, you hear your footsteps? But when someone's behind you, you hear their footsteps too. I would always have a double sense of hearing double. Or hearing, or when, like, let's say me and Mike are talking, I would hear Mike talk. Like I'm quiet, just listening to him, but like behind me, I would hear someone whispering what he's saying to me. But like it wouldn't be like gross or creepy. I just thought it was like a weird way. Like, honestly, I just blamed it to my autism. I was like, I'm probably just autistic or something, and like, you know, this is what it. And I used to really say, I was like, oh, I'm just retarded. I just, you know, like I have auditory issues or whatever. So one day I'm minding my own business, full bright moon, and I'm walking towards my aunt's house. And I looked behind me. I went through an alley. I looked behind me, and there's someone standing at the very edge of the alleyway, just watching me. And I'm thinking, oh, great, it's the fucking cholillos, the fucking gang members from around here. They're probably gonna jump me or something. So when I turned around, that same motherfucker was right in front of me, dude. And it was gross. Shit. It was so gross because like he looked like he had a trench coat, like a pitch black trench coat. And like his face was like elongated, like he had like a werewolf, like legit like a werewolf. You remember the American Werewolf in London?
Yeah.
You know when he's transforming and his face is like elongating like that? Imagine that, dude. Imagine that. But his skin was like ebony, was like pitch black. And his eyes were like red, and like you couldn't see the white part. It was weird. Like I was like, what the fuck? And like he breathed on me. Like I don't know what the fuck that thing was, but it breathed on me, and I was just like, oh shit, what the fuck is this? Like I didn't know what to do. Like I just stood there staring at him, and I was just like, what do I do? And then I heard one of my tias call out my name, like, Gordo, ¿qué estás haciendo? And I look back, and my tia's walking with like bags and like a thing. So I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go help my tia. And I turned around. I turned like to see my tia, and then when I turned back, the motherfucker was all the way to the other side of the alleyway. There's no way he was gonna get to the other side of the alleyway without him making noise, right? So I told my tia, I was at least to stop her. I was like, tia, do you see that man over there? And she's like, Gordo, shut the fuck up. There's so many urban stories around here. Shut up. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So we go into her house. And I'm like, I'm scared, dude. Like, I'm full on scared. And I told my tia, no. Someone put their dog in my face. And she's like,
the dog in you?
No, because like I said, it looked like a fucking dog to me. So I was like, you know, like, what is that? And my mom's like, Gordo, why would someone grab their pet chihuahua and put it in your fucking face? And I was like, that's true, my guy. So she had tamales, so I started eating tamales or whatever. But in the outside, the floor was hollow, and it was because it's a mobile home, so it was elevated.
Yeah.
When you walk out there, you feel it. You can feel the footsteps.
Yeah.
And I was like, Tia, when's my uncle supposed to be home? And she's like, oh, he's home early. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Don't open the door. Let him open it. And she's like, no, I'll open it for him. Just leave it unlocked for him. And I was like, Tia, please do not unlock that door.
Yeah.
Like, mijo, what's wrong? And I was like, Tia, I saw someone out there someone's out there in the house, outside in the alley, and outside there's someone out there. Yeah, please do not. And she says that when I'm talking to her, behind me there's a window. Someone run past that window. And she's like, Mijo, she's like, get away from the window. So like we went closer into the center of the house, and she calls my tío. And my tío on speaker says, no, I haven't even clocked out yet. I'm not there. So as she's on the phone with him, I called my mom. Dude. And I was like, Mom, call the cops. Why the fuck didn't I just call them? But I was like, call the cops. There's someone at my tía's house. We don't know who it is. And she's like, oh, it's probably your tío. No, Mom, he's on the phone with us. And he says that he's not there. And then the door knocks. There's a knock at the door. And I told my tía, do not open the door. Don't even look outside. Act like you don't know what's going on. But then it got louder. And then the back door started rattling. And I'm like, no. I told my tía, do you have a rosary, sorry.
Yeah.
See me con the spice cabinet, you know?
We're gonna make some killer
rosary
pasta right now.
And she told me, Mijo, I don't remember the words. And I was like, that's why we have technology. I opened up my cousin's laptop, turned it on, let it boot, and they kept on knocking and knocking and knocking. I turned on the fucking computer, no internet service.
Oh,
at all.
Fuck. Oh, shit, like, dude.
Fuck! So, 2 minutes go by, and it's just knocking on the door. I get mad. And I was like, I yelled out, you're so fucking annoying, do you not have keys? And it stopped knocking. I was like, do you have keys, yes or no? No answer. I was like, alright, well, fuck off. Well, in Spanish, right? And my tía's like, Mijo, no, cállate, no le hables. And I'm like, no, I've had enough. He needs to get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
I was like, whoever the fuck you are, if you don't have a key to this house, you need to leave. If you don't belong to this house, you need to get the fuck out of here. You need to leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
And my tía's like, Mijo, cállate. And sure enough, I hear a knocking on the window. And I'm like, if I look to the fucking window and there's someone just blasted there, oh fuck no, you know? I look out the window and it's my uncle. Like one of my other uncles. Not the uncle that lives in the house, but it's another uncle. He's like, hey, güey, ábreme la puerta. And I'm like, were you the one knocking right now? And he's like, no, I just walked up. But I heard you. Who are you talking to? So I went to the door, and as soon as I touched the door handle, it started to rattle hard. Pero dude, the window and the door are in the same walkway. You can see both of them. So I was like, tío, ¿estás agarrando la puerta? Are you grabbing the door? And he's like, no, I'm right here at the window still. And my tía's like, let go of the door. And I let go of the door, and she's like, do you have keys? And he's like, yeah, I have them right here, look. And he showed them to her. Okay, come open the door. And she said, but be careful because there's something there. And he's like, no, there isn't. No, there isn't. There's nothing there. So he walks up to the door, opens the door, and he comes in. But I'm standing in an angle to where I can see directly out. Tell me why? At the very edge of the house, on the bit where the corner of the fences meet, that motherfucker was right there staring into the house.
Oh fuck no, dude.
And I told my uncle, close the fucking door. And I told him what happened. And he's like, oh yeah, your dad told me about this. Blah 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 blah. So you're cursed. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean, right? So he's like, yeah, you need to start. He's like, you need to start working with your inner demons and all this other stuff because that thing wants you for some reason. And I'm like, you're just gonna talk to me nonchalantly like this some real shit? And he's like, you probably need meds, dude. You're probably just depressed. And I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Wait. Okay, hold on. Wait, how does that work? Because like your aunt was hearing it and seeing it too.
That's
so like that has nothing to do with your mental health.
So I told my tía because she needed a shower and she's like, mijo, no te vayas. Don't leave me here alone. And I'm like, tía, I'm sleeping in your house. Like, I'm visiting you from Riverside. Like I'm not gonna leave. You know, I'm gonna be here with you. You know. And but mind you, whatever happened in my grandmother's house, that was my dad's side of the family. This is my mom's side of the family, right? She's like, Mijo, I'm very scared because your tío's not gonna show up for another hour or two. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna shower. I'm gonna be here with you. And she's like, I don't feel safe. And I'm like, I don't feel safe either. The problem is that my grandmother's house is on the other side of the street. We could just walk there. And she's like, with that thing there chasing you, basically following you, I don't feel safe either. I don't feel safe with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, like I'm like, and I was like, okay, well, Tia, I think you should probably grab a knife or something or defend yourself and lock yourself in your room. I'll be out here in the living room. And she's like, I don't want to do that to you either because what if something happens to you? I'm gonna feel bad. And I'm like, well, that motherfucker can't open doors without my permission.
Yeah.
So he can stay outside for all I care, as long as he doesn't start rattling the window. And as soon as I said that, a fucking bird slammed into the fucking window. And I was like, like like I was livid. So about an hour or two go by. Mind you, I turned on the TV. DirecTV worked. Shout out to DirecTV, I guess. So I was watching anime and I was just chilling there. But every other minute, I could hear footsteps and I could hear someone was outside and I could hear like tiptoeing and like I could just feel it. I could hear it. Eventually, my tío rattled the door to like open it and he put his key in and blah blah blah. And he's like, "Mijo, ¿qué pasó?" And I was like, "Tío, let me tell you what happened." And I told him, and he's like, "¿Sabes lo que necesitas?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You need to go to church." And I'm like, "Oh, great." Cool. So after
I can't even walk out the door. How am I gonna get to the church?
No, I told him, well, I'm gonna sleep here right now. I'm not gonna go to church tomorrow or whatever, unless we actually go or whatever. And my tío, he's like, you need to give yourself to God. This, and that. And he told me a bunch of good stuff, right? Which I respect and all that. But the point being is, I couldn't sleep that night because I swore that guy was out there. So, tell me what my stupid, dumbass, idiotic self at 1 a.m. said, you know what? I really don't want to watch, and I feel bad because I regret it because I was like, I really don't want to watch this dumbass show of it was Cowboy Bebop. I was like, I don't want to watch this show. I don't get it. I'm mostly here for Naruto and Bleach, but whatever. And Fullmetal Alchemist, I think it was Fullmetal Alchemist. But I know Naruto and Bleach were playing, but I was like, those episodes are done. I kind of need some fresh air because it's kind of stuffy in here. Completely forgot about the fact that there was a dude out there, right? Opened the door, walked out, took like 3 steps, leaned on the bar, took in like 3-4 like nice long deep breaths. I heard the walking like on the gravel, and I just started praying. I just started Padre Nuestro que estás en los cielos, and like all of a sudden, right now I don't obviously, but in that exact moment, I remembered every single verse that my abuela had taught me, and I just started saying it slowly, and then when I finished and I said Amen, something was at the door, not the door, at the stairs where the door is.
Yeah.
And then I remember my grandmother said, and I called out to God, and I was like, you know what? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if this is you or not, but I'm very afraid, and I don't wanna be in this situation. So whatever's wrong, please help me. If I look to my left and I see something, what am I gonna see? And are you gonna be here to guard me? And I remember I got off the rail, I took a deep breath, and I was just like, I remember saying, I know that I haven't been praying, I know I haven't been calling to you. I kind of grew out of my habit of praying and stuff like that. Like I really don't follow you like I used to. I don't worship you like I used to. But my heart is good. I'm not a bad person. Yes, I'm a liar. Yes, I have some perverted ideas, and like I know that I'm not 100% good, and like I was just pouring myself, and I was just like I don't want my family to get hurt. And at some point I was just like I spoke to whatever the fuck that is, like, you know what? I don't know what you want, but I'm not gonna give it to you. So you need to leave me alone. God is with me. And I heard like a little cackle, and and like but I didn't look, like I didn't turn because the moon was like up here, like to my right. It was really, really beautiful. It was really, really pretty. And I was just like, I'm guided by light, and my heart is of light. I'm not an evil person. I'm a good person. I don't deserve whatever it is that you have plans for me. I do not belong to you. And my dumbass said, if you are the devil, know that I understand you, but know that I'm not gonna give in to you. For my path is not. No, and I know I'm getting poetic with it, but I remember saying this. I was like, know that my heart is in a good place.
Yeah.
Do not drag me to wherever you're going. And then I heard the footsteps leaving, and when I turned, there was like a shadow, but like smoke. There was like smoke. It wasn't a shadow. It was more like smoke. And I just broke down crying. My tia heard me, And I was like, I talked to God, blah blah blah. And she's like, come inside, blah blah blah. And I went inside. She held me for a little bit, and then I just went and I lay down on the couch. And when I woke up, she had pancakes. She had all this food ready. My cousins and I, we ate, we hung out, and my tío was like, "Did you pray?" And I was like, "Yeah, I prayed." He said, "Did you give yourself to God?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "How do you feel?" Uh, Tío, I feel like there's something going on with me. I think I really should go to the doctor. He's like, "Well, go when you're not here. I gotta go to work. Bye." And he left. He left, and I told my tia, I think I need therapy or I think I need something because I feel so cold. I feel so empty, and that's when my severe depression started.
Mm.
So I don't know 100% what the fuck all that was, but ever since ever since all that happened, my mentality when it comes to like ghosts and spirits and like that,
Mm.
you can kind of tell why I'm like, oh yeah, dude, that shit's real.
Yeah.
Because
Damn.
you can't you can't live without thinking what was that, what was that for so long
Yeah.
until you give that prayer and you're like, nah, that shit, nah, you know.
Mm.
Even my therapist, he told me sometimes traumas manifest in certain ways, and it
Mm.
feels real or even feels otherworldly, but in reality, it's just
Mm.
your trauma going through whatever the fuck, right?
Mm.
And I ask myself now more than ever, like, my traumas weren't that bad. Like, yeah, sure, my mom
Yeah.
talked to me like I was a piece of shit, and she took her anger out on me. Yeah, sure, like that, I'm not gonna
Mm.
deny it. And now I'm never gonna. And now I get it why, because my dad and her had broken up and all this other shit, and she told my dad and my aunts a bunch of shit about me, and she treated me some type of way, and I get it. I understand.
Mm.
She was a struggling mom, and she had all these feelings, and she had her own issues to deal with, and she just took them out on me, and I get it.
Mm.
But my question is, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, why did I have to go through that? You know
Mm.
what I mean? And why was it so vivid? Was it because
Yeah.
because my imagination was so good, or is it because there really is something out there? You know?
Yeah, cause it is one thing, like, from what your therapist was saying, that like trauma manifests and stuff like that. It's one thing for you to like experience it on your own, but like the fact that there's multiple people that not only like saw what you saw or experienced what you experienced, that like it can't just be like a shared, thing for it to just be like trauma manifesting or stuff like that. Like it kind of like that's kind of like you have witnesses to
The
what
issue.
happened.
So check this out. This was years ago, right? This is when I
Huh.
was like 6, 7 to like 10, 11, right?
Yeah.
And I asked my aunts, like, I don't ask them because they already given me the answers, right? They already told me, I don't know what you're talking about. Se hacen pendejas. They act like they act like they don't know what I'm talking about.
Mm.
Sometimes they're like, yeah, I do remember you had some issues, but I don't want to talk about it. And they don't
Mm.
want to talk about it either because
Yeah.
they felt something, because one of my aunts told
Yeah.
me that, like, that aunt that I just told you about with the knocking and stuff, she says that
Yeah.
now every single time she knocks, she asks quién es, and you're
Mm.
not supposed to, but because of the situation, if you don't give her an answer, she doesn't let you in.
Yeah.
So she'll listen to, oh, is my kid, or is my husband, or it's my aunt, my uncle, whatever the fuck, right? So
Mm.
she tells me like, oh, because of that, I have the habit of asking quién es, or tienes llaves, like you
Mm.
have keys. Don't be going into people's houses if you don't have the key. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she got a little. She may not think of it that way, but I think that's what it is. And then when I
Yeah.
asked my uncle,
PTSD.
for real,
Yeah.
when I asked my uncle about it, he's like, you know what, mijo, I'm gonna be very very honest with you. Oftentimes, as soon as I'm out of work, I go to the pub and I just get fucked up and I drive home fucked up. So I don't remember anything. I'm sorry. And I'm
Shit.
like, huh? And he's just like, yeah, like I was probably drunk that day and I don't remember. I'm like,
Mm.
oh, okay. So my abuela passed away when I was like 19, 20.
Mm.
So before she passed away, she told me some pretty chilling stuff. And she told me he doesn't follow you anymore, huh? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? And she's like, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, the thing that I saw years ago? She's like, yeah. And I was like, no, he doesn't follow me around. And he's like, does he talk to you? And I'm like, not necessarily. And she's like, did you let him in? And I'm like, not necessarily. She's like, you're playing with the idea of it, huh? And I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, don't play stupid with me. And I'm like, no,
Don't
I don't
disrespect
know.
my deathbed.
Yeah, exactly. She told me, word for word, you guys. She told me, mijo, remember that those who kill themselves don't go to heaven, and they have a fate worse than hell. They stay stuck here. And I was
That
just
is
like,
the belief.
no, and I told her, how the fuck do you know I want to kill myself? And she's like, I've always known. And I was just like, what are you talking about? And she just started telling me a bunch of shit. I don't want to get into it, but she started talking about some shit that only I know. Like, only I know because I experienced it and I saw it. You know what I mean? So she left me with a bunch of, like, what the fuck? You know, like a lot of, like, very, very scary shit that I had, that I live with still, kind of, but ever since I started going to therapy and my depression and my suicidal tendencies are dying down, oh, I feel great. So now whenever I get all paranoid, I'll be like, bitch, fuck you, I kill you. I already dealt with you before. You know, I'll say something like completely like, man, you can eat my whole ass, have a whole buffet. I don't care. And just continue with my day. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, sorry, you're probably going to have to edit that, but I don't.
Yeah, all the unalive stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. But yeah,
It's all
man.
cool. It's
So,
all good.
but yeah, man. So you guys want to talk about really actual scary stories? Let me
So
know.
it's already been 2 hours.
Hell yeah.
We
So
talked
anyway,
about one
I just also
creepypasta.
want to say like that would make a great creepypasta. Just to tie it all back in, but honestly, dude, that's fuck, man.
Some good
That's a
storytelling.
lot. Yeah.
The worst part is I kind of wish I didn't live it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I don't like again now I'm getting more into the whole like personal life stuff, but
Yeah.
sometimes I feel it. Like I feel something there, but I don't know what it is. So I just write it off as, oh, it's either a guardian angel or someone's waiting for my downfall and they're recording it. You know what I mean? And something that my grandma used to tell me was that your guardian angel is only as strong as you are. So you need to reinforce that. I think that was more of a you need to love yourself kind of a thing.
Yeah.
She told me that your guardian angel, yeah, is there to guard you from things that it can protect you from, like accidents. You know what I mean? But she said that once you make the decision to let something in, he can't do anything about it because it's your decision, and he just has to sit there and suffer and watch you suffer.
No.
So my grandma really tied me up with a lot of stuff. I don't think she did that with my other cousins, but she did that a lot with me. I think it's because she knew I was retarded or something.
Gotta blip that one out too.
Evan?
Gotta blip that one out too. Those
I'm
are
sorry.
words.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's real, dude.
So yeah,
That.
closing out, let us know your favorite creepypastas. So favorite creepypasta, you guys have any you recommend? I watched a couple before this episode, but it seems like all my research was not useful.
It's okay. We'll have a
We
part
have to
two.
have
Maybe
part two creepypasta.
not next time when I'm hosting, but like down the road we'll do a part
We have
two.
to follow up on some creepypasta
But honestly, this was
recommendation.
dope too.
Yeah, I already told my ghost stories in another episode, so I don't really have one for this time. But yeah, let us know if you had any paranormal experiences. What's your favorite creepypasta? Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Bye.
Bye, be safe.
Later.